Alright, there's an inaccurate picture um, of the educated black male. And a lot of it has to do with what we see on TV. When I was in college, every Thursday night, me and my boys would either go to the gym or we would play football. We were in a little league. We always got done around 9:30ish, right? And we always rushed back to the apartments or to the dorms or wherever we were living at to watch ER, right? A lot of my boys were pre-med students, right? So they like watching it just because it reminded them of what they needed to do, right? Kind of like, give them new life so they can go back to the classes that were kicking their asses. I wasn't pre-med, but I watched anyway, simply because I liked the fact that they had Mekhi Phifer's character on the show. And I liked how he was depicted, right? He wasn't soft. Like, you could tell he was a brother by the way he had his haircut, by the way he talked. Um, you know, he was quote-unquote keeping it real. Like, he wasn't, the corny type dude that everybody likes to think educated black men are. Um, so I like watching it because it showed his life at work, how he was, while he was working. And, they had the little bits and pieces of them outside of work. So you got to see who he was in the full circle, right? And you could relate to it. You felt him. Like, you wanted to aspire to be like him because he kept it 100%, right? In every sense of the word, right? Like, you could identify with him. That's my role model, right? Between him and Kadeem Hardison, Dwayne Wayne from what's the show? Different World. Like, those were my TV role models growing up as a kid, simply because they was proactive, but they weren't out of touch with quote unquote black culture. But Hollywood, and I don't want to start to use all the normal excuses, but there has been this effort to paint educated black males in a certain way, right? We all remember Braxton from the Jamie Foxx show. We all remember Theo Huxtable, right? We've always watched the shows and we've seen the extras, and we've seen how they portray the stiff neck, flat top, educated black dude that has no clue what's going on. We've all seen Fresh Prince. We all know Carlton Banks and all that other shit, right? So there's never been an accurate portrayal other than, in my opinion, Mekhi and Kadeem Hardison. Even on Martin, right? Everybody remembers Martin with Gina and Tanisha Arnold and all that other stuff. It was funny how in the show Tommy Cole and Martin were not college educated. I'm not sure about Tommy. I don't think Tommy was college educated. But Pam and Gina were. Right? That always struck me. Like, even when I watch it nowadays, it's like, It's always funny how they portrayed the black woman to be professional, but the men weren't. As if you're an educated woman, this is what you're going to have to get. And not in the sense that, Martin was whack or Tommy was whack, but they portrayed it as if, this is as good as it's going to get as far as quality dudes, even if you are educated. And once again, it doesn't paint an accurate picture. It doesn't paint, a picture of what it is to be an educated black male. And I'm forgetting New York Undercover, right? Now, you can't be a detective, right, unless you have some sort of education. So, for all purposes, we know that Malik Yoba and Michael DeLorenzo on New York Undercover were both educated, right? That's another show that I hung on tough, not only because they had all the flies, Tommy Hilfiger gear, the polo, all that, that 94 to 97 shit, before people started wearing that FUBU bullshit, right? I used to love that show because it was hip, right? They had all the music that, they weren't playing on MTV, on BET, in the intro. Like, the show was just cool, right? And you had two minorities, one black, one Puerto Rican, right? Both hella educated. They can't do their job. You can't be being a detective is one of, you have to be smart, problem solving, critical thinking to a high level, right? And they weren't street cops. They were detectives. There's a big difference. Shit, most detectives become lawyers, right? Or they get into law, so they are highly academically skilled, right? But they kept it real, right? I remember Malik would come into work with the toothpick in his mouth, the Tim's on, with the jersey on, what's going on, what's our case looking like. And, that was his swag. Yeah, it was a little bit, glorified. Yeah, of course it was glorified. But still, I thought it did a great job of showing that, you can be educated, you can be professional, and still keep it real. Because they weren't yo. That's when they had to go undercover. But they were, you never questioned their ability to be professional. That wasn't an issue. So once again, that's another stereotype, or not stereotype, but another character that as a kid I grew up wanting to be like, simply because they were educated and they still had a sense of realism to them. So I feel like there hasn't been this accurate portrayal. Tyler Perry tries, but it just doesn't work for me. I mean, we've all seen The Brothers with Morris Chestnut and all that other shit, but that's just not real either. That's just romanticized. That's all Tyler Perry does. I mean, he tries to let me portray black people in a new light, but he never really does a good job. But the characters that I speak about in terms of Mekhi Phifer, Kadeem Hardison, who's the other one? Malik Yoba, I feel give an accurate picture of what an educated black man is. So for those watching, think about it. If you're not familiar with these characters, try to YouTube it. I don't know, BET used to show Different World. I don't know if they're doing that anymore. It's probably too proactive for BET anyways, but ER, I mean, I haven't been up on it, but I think they killed his character off, Mekhi Phifer, since it's the last season or whatever. But if you can check out, just check out one episode with him on it, right? Same thing with New York Undercover. All I want you guys to do is just check out one episode of these three shows if you haven't seen it before, right? So that you can get an understanding of what I am in terms of being an educated black male, and in terms of other males who are in my same position. Yes, you have your corny Braxton type dudes. Doesn't mean that they're not real. Doesn't mean like they don't know about what it means to be black. It's just more of a facade. But there are dudes who pretty much know how to play both sides, know how to develop their double consciousness in terms of keeping it real in a white world, right? So that they don't lose themselves in either one side. So, I don't know. Let me know how you feel. Take it easy.